of having the eye screening in place. The eye screening, uh, machine in place for people to be able to test themselves. But we'll learn more as we move forward. Go ahead. Next is Tom. Tom, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your background, just so that we know, so that Rashid and his team know?
Sure. I'll make it real fast. Again, sorry I'm not online, but I was out traveling today. But anyways, Sam and I go back, I don't know how many years, probably close to 10 years now, but it's quite a few. And I spent about 45 years in not only in investment banking, traveling around the world, but also in risk management. And I was also involved with a lot of global law firms, accounting firms, TPAs, third-party administrators, helping to develop financial services products and programs, working with major financial institutions, banks, credit unions, insurance companies, reinsurance companies, captives, rent-a-captives, you name it. So I have a lot of experience in a lot of different areas, but what I have most of all is I've built great relationships. So basically, a lot of people like to talk about 3 degrees of separation. And I say I'm 2 and potentially even 1 degree of separation from anybody that I need to get in touch with, which has been a great asset for me.
Yes.
And I'm hoping to utilize those assets as we move on. Unfortunately, and I'll make this real quick, my wife passed away unexpectedly in my arms about 3 months ago, and it threw me for a loop after 47 years of being married.
Wow.
So I'm just getting back in the loop here, to be honest with you. And Sam knows that, and so does Rick.
Yes.
And they've been real gracious to keep me in the loop and keep 2 of my partners in the loop. That one is on the veteran side, and the other is really on the business mechanics, I'm going to call it. But that's my background. So, we could write a book on it, but that's the real Reader's Digest version. Let me say that.
Yeah, Tom's son as well, and thank you very much, Tom, for taking the time. Tom's son also owns a logistics shipping company for labs, so he's very much involved with the medical world, labs,
yes.
which is places that we could hopefully situate the EyeCHEQ machine in eventually.
Sure.
And also, Tom is very, very tied into the veteran community and the healthcare world. So
yes.
Next, Rick, who's next online?
Dino, please.
Dino, go ahead. Just if you could say a little bit about your background.
Sure. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dino Rodwell. I'm the founder and CEO of Capital Energy Solutions, and with a company that specializes in microgrid and really focused on the first layer of that 5-layer cake as it relates to the AI build out. But how I got here, my prior life was spent after college. So we're talking about 30 years in the healthcare field as an entrepreneur, mostly centered around durable medical equipment and MRI, diagnostic imaging. And so I really just wanted to be able to introduce some of my other friends from my past life into this EyeCHEQ opportunity. So so that's really why I'm trying to support Sam and the SPG team on this particular endeavor.
Thank you very much. And did Dr. Kim make the call, or she couldn't make it to this call? I
No,
know.
she just got back from the national conference, so we chatted a little bit yesterday. We texted a little bit yesterday. She was not sure because she obviously being gone, she was kind of behind schedule on some stuff. But
Sure.
since you guys are are memorializing these calls, I'll send them to her. But I will say this: I'm glad you brought that up because she did send me. I meant to ask a question initially about competition. That's the first call. And so that was my first thought. But however, I got a unsolicited text about a company called I think it's called, no, what is the name of it? It's in Florida. The name of the firm is called EyeCHEQ. And we're not to get into it right now in this second, but I
Yeah,
just want to
we'll
put that
talk
out there.
about it
Maybe
when we
the
go
team can
through the
talk about
call. Yeah,
it.
very
Okay.
good.
All right. Thank you.
Excellent, Dino. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll
Mhm.
talk about it once we start. I'm sure that Rashid,
And
Chris, or
unfortunately, I
Ali
can't
will
stay on the
address
whole
it.
call because I have another call I have to get on at 2:30. So,
Okay,
but
we're
do what
almost
you can. Okay.
okay. Got it. Got
All
it.
right.
Who's
Thank
next?
you. Okay.
Stay on. Stay on. We're almost done. Go ahead. Who else is on the call? TJ,
That's it.
Rick.
I think that's it.
That's it.
All righty.
TJ, well, TJ is not Tom. TJ, you want to go ahead and say a few words? Strategic Global Ventures.
You might
Okay.
be on mute, TJ, if you're talking.
Sorry, guys. I'm just in the middle of something. I'm just listening to y'all. Um, Basically, we're working with Sam and some other guys doing capital formation for med tech in various fields right now. And I'm just interested in your product and wanted to learn a little bit more about it. So I'm just a passive participant today. Thank you.
Sure. Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess we'll start, and the other people that are not going to be on today's call, we'll just follow up on our next call, and there should be other people joining. So why don't I just introduce this? There are three members from the EyeCHEQ team that are here. And by the way, the layout of the call will be the first 15-20 minutes will just be a quick recap of the EyeCHEQ platform, and then we'll spend another 20 minutes talking about the compensation and the potential of earning residual income for us. And we'll have another call next Monday at 2 p.m. for those of you that want to learn more and that would like to come on. But I'm going to hand it over to Rashid now, and maybe you could introduce Ali and Chris to the call.
I can do that, Sam. So my
Okay.
name's Ali Kashnevis. I'm one of the co-founders of EyeCHEQ alongside Rashid and Chris here. We have, pretty diverse backgrounds, but Rashid and I come from eye care. Rashid's a retinal specialist. I'm an optometrist. We've both been taking care of patients for many years, but we both have an entrepreneurial background. We've had several startups that have exited to private equity. And Chris Grant has a wealth of knowledge in the healthcare industry with prior gigs at Quest Diagnostics, most notably where he led their patient service centers and their 2,200 centers and implemented their diabetic retinopathy screening program, which is something we're doing with Quest now. He was at Kaiser and John Hopkins prior to that. So very, very, very well known in the industry and top-notch guy when it comes to biz dev. And he's led all these efforts that we're going to be talking about here. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in because I know some people got to go at the top of the hour. So I want to make sure we get through what we need to before we go into Q&A.
Before you start, Ali, do you want to just
Sure.
address Dino? I know that you were on last week's call and that, like I said, you'll have a whole network of people coming on. Could you just ask Ali the question in case you have to drop off because you said that's an important question?
He asked about competition, right, Sam?
Dino,
Yes,
go
I
ahead.
did. Yeah. So hi there.
Hi.
One of my my friend is radiologist, but her colleagues ophthalmology had just asked unbeknownst, we were having this discussion about you guys, but to take a look at this company's product called EyeCHEQ. Is it down in
Yes.
Vero Beach?
Yeah,
You
yeah, we're
familiar
very
with them?
familiar. Yep.
So
Dr.
how does that, if you don't mind, yeah, just want to get an idea, like how do you all align or not align, and what's your value proposition related to what they may do? It seems like it's a little different, but just want to get some clarity on that since she asked me about it.
Yeah, Globe Check was designed to be sort of like a lazy Susan. You know, you put food on, you turn it around so that everyone can eat their food and try different things. That's what they did with the medical equipment. So they put a bunch of different equipment in a very large ball, and they swing that ball around to the different equipment, but they still have a technician in front of the equipment that's operating all the tests. And it's really very, very large. So it can't go into places like Walmart or CVS or even in primary care offices. Most of their deployments have been, providing screening services in the middle of a parking lot or somewhere outside. So, the testing that they do is similar to what we do, but we've designed our system so that anybody can use it and it can go anywhere. And most importantly, it doesn't require a technician to be there. So this is all self-service, which is one of the reasons why we're in Quest Diagnostic Centers today. They don't have a technician. They have one phlebotomist that works in the location that's busy drawing blood, and he or she cannot be doing eye exams, nor does have the knowledge to do it. So Globe Check made what you do in a doctor's office into a large device where a technician who is highly trained, who usually works in an ophthalmology office, has to accompany that device and perform exams. So you can think of ours as like a fully autonomous, AI-driven, tech-enabled, can go anywhere, can do what they do, but just at a scalability that they would never be able to achieve. I mean, those are the biggest differentiators.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Sure, no problem. And I mean, to piggyback on that, this test is really, really easy for patients to do. Most of our patients are over the age of 65. We are focused on Medicare patients. So don't think we're only screening 18-year-old kids that know how to use technology. This is really designed specifically for an older population. It's designed to speak any language. It takes 5 minutes. You walk up to it. It instructs you. It shows you what to do. You stick your head in. Boom, boom, boom. You're done, right? So this is a deployment you're seeing in Quest. We did a pilot with Quest that was successful. Now we're expanding our national footprint with them, going into the Illinois market. We're going into Florida. We're talking about a national opportunity, which could put these into hundreds and hundreds of Quest diagnostic centers. Um,
As a
we,
matter of fact, I just want to throw in that one of my clients told me that he went and visited one of your kiosks in Chicago,
yes.
and he was very impressed by it. And so I have people from throughout the country that are involved with gyms, labs, clinics. And there's one person I just want to say about Rick Reese, who set up this call. He's a retired veteran and is very well situated and with people that could help us to go into the veteran marketplace. But you go ahead. I
Yeah,
just want to
yeah.
just
We love
interject.
that opportunity. We think the C box are a great opportunity to put this device in and provide eye care where people don't have to travel to the large hospital that could be 90 minutes, 2 hours away from them. So we're really excited about the opportunity to serve our veterans. Um,
Ali, just very quickly,
yes.
TJ had a question about the Southwest US, and I'm thinking
Southwest US
expansion.
is going to be a big uh, point of expansion for us, especially Texas. We're talking to United Healthcare with Quest for Texas. We're talking to Devoted Health, which is a very large regional health plan that wants to place these devices into Texas primary care facilities. We have a partnership with Vision Source, which is the largest vision group in America that has a very strong foothold in the Texas region, and that even extends like Louisiana all the way across to Arizona and California.
You just
Um,
answered the
yeah,
question with him
yeah, I saw it pop up just now. So
real
we're in
time.
talk. we're in talks with an organization called Sonora Quest. It's actually a joint venture between Banner Health and Quest Diagnostics. They have about 70 centers in Arizona. That's going to be a deployment that we're looking at in the future, and we've been talking to them for a while. They're very excited about this.
Good.
Ganesh, did you have a question?
Not really. I'm just absorbing as much as possible for now.
Okay.
So that SoCal, we do have a deployment there, and we're going to actually expand with that group. So that's with Gens Optical. Gens Optical is a Japanese, you could think of them as the Japanese Warby Parker. They have 500 offices all across the Asian region. Now they're starting to expand in the United States. They're an amazing organization. They sell a ton of glasses. I wouldn't be surprised if they began competing with Warby Parker at the level that they are. From a revenue standpoint, they achieve the same revenues as Warby. So very, very excited opportunity. We're screening 400 patients a month in those locations. They're in LA now. They're going to expand to more areas in SoCal, and then they're looking at a NoCal expansion as well.
Just so that you know, just a half hour ago, I got off a call with somebody that's based in Arizona, Texas. That is they have a few pharmacies, and they actually work with a bunch of gyms, walk-in gyms, eyeglass locations. And they asked a very good question. These screeners actually are able to evaluate somebody's prescription, and then it could actually then transmit the communication or whatever the transcription is to the optometrist, and for the optometrist to then be able to generate the glasses, which Rashid confirmed. So I'm just trying to mention some points as I hear them, that maybe so that we could discuss the many, many different multiple verticals that could be done throughout this machine. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's right, Sam. So just to piggyback on that, and that was my next point. So this is a 5-minute exam. When you get done with it, your information is transmitted to an eye doctor who provides a complete evaluation of what just happened. Now, with certain groups like gyms, like pharmacies that want to offer glasses and things like that, the eye doctor can actually look at your information and provide you with a prescription for eyeglasses. We do that today with Gens Optical. Again, Warby Parker of Asia coming into America, Japan, Japanese company. The other use case, so think of that use case. You got Walmart with eyeglasses, you got Costco with eyeglasses. Both of them are going to be opportunities that are going to be placing EyeCHEQ devices. We're already in one Walmart location. We're talking to them about more. We're going into Costco talking about more. We're talking about Gens and some other groups. There's 20,000 of these locations in the United States that we could see an EyeCHEQ device in. That's just the US. Then we have another category, which are like your Quest Diagnostic Centers, your primary care offices, your pharmacies that want to provide a diabetic eye exam. They get about $200 every time someone takes this test. That's why Quest is doing this. They're getting $250 every time someone steps foot in front of our device. And there's hundreds of thousands of those locations just in the United States. So the opportunity is pretty big. So, getting 1% penetration can account for thousands of locations. Getting 5% is tens of thousands of locations in the US.
Yeah, and
I'd like to welcome Kim. Welcome, Kim.
Hi, Kim. How are you? The other thing that I just want to mention, Tom, to you is that the insurance carriers, because you're from the insurance world, one big marketplace for us to approach would be third-party administrators, the TPAs. the people that work with the unions, the people that work with the truck drivers, the people, I mean, with the large member-driven groups who do self-funded care. They love this because what it does, it's not only helps them to generate revenue from their clinics or from the operations, but it cuts back on the cost of the care. So it's saving them money at the same time as it's making them money. So just keep that in the back of your mind, Tom, okay? Or whoever has any relationships with third-party administrators.
Take a moment. Kim, did you have anything to say?
Hello.
Hi,
Oh,
Kim.
I'm sorry. I was on mute. I said we have great contacts in the Walmart as well at the headquarters. And also, another area is prison systems. We've got literally contacts in the thousands of prisons throughout the United States.
Those are wonderful, wonderful opportunities. We see that there's a ton of potential in the prison systems and
Oh yeah,
Walmart.
definitely.
They're providing a lot of eye exams, but they're relying on, optometrists.
I understand. Yep.
So
I understand totally what you're saying. Yep.
well, I
And
think
Sam's right with TPAs and insurance companies, et cetera. Yeah, we've got some incredible contacts in those areas.
we're very excited about that. I think at this juncture, what we'd like to do is start talking about our sales pipeline, who we're selling to, what the revenue models are.
Sure.
And,
Yep.
we just want to share with everyone here that we're excited about all these potential opportunities. We are also raising, we raise with a strategic partner in ophthalmology, which is one of the biggest players in ophthalmology. They see a huge opportunity with our solution, an opportunity to sell equipment outside of optometry offices. So I think that's a real testament to what we're building, what we're doing. They put $4 million in. We want to expand on that, get it as high as 10 million. So we're going to open up another $5-6 million
Yeah.
dollars.
Kim, I believe I heard them say that you're on the call. Do you mind saying a little bit about your background? Just take 2 minutes, please. Great.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, Kim.
Hi.
Can you just tell the group here, I have Chris and Rashid and Ali, who are the owners of EyeCHEQ. We were just going through the product usage, but if you could just tell them a little bit about your background, because I think, and by the way, if anybody wants to know more, we can set up direct one-on-one calls too. But go ahead, Kim, just tell us a little bit about your background, please.
Hi, everyone. I live in Bowie, Maryland. I am a radiologist by career and profession, and I also entrepreneur and investor. So that's my background.
Very good. So, like Ali was saying about the money part, which we'll hand over soon to his other partner to talk about the way the revenue is generated, is that with all these opportunities that are coming their way, including Quest and including these lab centers, any area you go into a pharmacy where you see the blood pressure cuff machine, there should be an EyeQuest kiosk right next to it there. But there's one point, so the money raised will help to finance the build out. But there's one point that I just want to touch upon in case it isn't mentioned, is that somebody had asked me, does a person who owned the kiosk have the right to also charge a fee for the use of it rather than charge for a full exam, just charge a one-time fee for the customer to pay at the time of usage, which will then go to the person that owns the kiosk. And so I'll let you answer that question, Ali, and then I'll give it back to you.
I do have one question, though, sir.
Sure. Go ahead, Kim.
So, who is your biggest competitor?
Ali,
Yeah,
would you like to address that?
I'll start with that one, and then maybe Ali, you can add a little bit more to it. So when you think about competitors, I want you to think of a 2x2 grid. On the Y side is the level of automation. How automated is your solution? And that's where most of the
Hey,
competitors are.
Thomas, how
That's
you
where,
doing, son?
Who's
I can hear
this?
you
Who?
fine, man. And gosh,
Dino,
I
can you put
didn't
yourself on
realize
mute?
Okay,
I
go.
had, well, I didn't really,
Go ahead, Dino.
Thanks.
Go
No,
ahead, Dino.
he was having a conversation offline. Uh, so on the 2x2 matrix, you have the Y, which is the automation, and the level of automation, meaning that nobody has to be helping the patient through that. That's where most of the competitors are. We're a physician-founded organization. And so for us, the medical aspect of this is just as important. And so on the X axis of your 2x2 is how much of the screening is actually a medical screening. It's one thing to be able to renew your glasses, but if you have an underlying health issue with your eye, you're going to be back in 3 months and 6 months trying to get a new prescription, and you haven't addressed the root cause. And that's really important to us because our goal as an organization is to stop blindness. It's as simple as that. As specific as that. That's what this all leads to, is preventing blindness. And so it's really important for us to be in that quadrant where we are fully automated and we are a full medical screening of the eye with those three modalities that we presented. Nobody is competing with us in that space. That's how
Okay.
we look at it. There are those out there that are getting a lot of press, but again, they're in that automated, trying to get glasses renewed, and they're coming up against some resistance. We work closely, and Ali, maybe you can talk about how we work closely with the optometry and the ophthalmology groups, and how we support them, and how we actually drive revenue into those practices.
The one point that I just want to make quickly is that it's not just for the diabetes, but from what I know from the ophthalmologists that I've spoken to and the other doctor, the endocrinologists and other fields, that it also helps to detect the start of cardiovascular disease, the kidney functions eventually. All of this heads up towards the eyes. You could read the full body scan almost. And as time goes on, Kim, there's going to be more and more features, especially you being a radiologist. But I'm sorry, Kim, you were about to say something. So go ahead. I apologize.
So it sounds like there are some other players in this space. So I reached out to my friend who's an ophthalmologist, and she referred me to EyeCHEQ,
Yeah.
who I don't know if they have a similar model. So I was just wondering, what the competition in the market was.
We discussed that just earlier, just before you
Kim
jumped
just
on.
joined us. Yes.
Yeah, so just briefly, Kim, hi, this is Rashid. I'm one of the co-founders, vitreoretinal surgeon by training. So to answer your question specifically about EyeCHEQ, EyeCHEQ was started in 2014, and they're primarily doing in-office or in ophthalmology services. We're more upstream. We see ourselves outside of the traditional ecosystem of eye care, in that we're bringing in more patients that otherwise haven't engaged in eye care into the ecosystem. Before we even embarked on this adventure, and I call it an adventure, any startup is an adventure, but certainly before we launched EyeCHEQ, we spoke to the Academy of Optometry and Academy of Ophthalmology so as to position our platform, and they view this very much as accretive to the profession, in that we're going to be screening patients that otherwise weren't engaged in eye care. And we did a study, which Chris will talk about shortly. It was 540 some patients, and wholly 1/3 of those patients that were screened had pathology, potentially the blinding pathology that was otherwise unbeknownst to themselves. So that's 1 out of 3 patients. So on this call, there's probably 2 or 3 of us statistically based on that study alone. So we're screening patients outside of eye care and driving them into ophthalmology and optometry, while EyeCHEQ is more geared toward ophthalmology practices because they encompass 7 different diagnostic modalities on a platform that rotates, so it doesn't have the patient moving from one station to another. They sit down and the table rotates with the different modalities. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, yes, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and it's important to note, sort of, we'll start to go into sort of our go-to-market strategy, pricing, and things like that. Unless there's other questions, happy to answer any others. But I thought I would move us along into that area. It's really important to understand that 25% of the counties in the U.S. have no eye care specialist, no optometrist, no ophthalmologist. And that represents about 40% of the US population. So it's no wonder that only 50% of diabetics are getting their annual screening. You look at the next level of counties out there, they maybe have one, two, and in most cases, those are retiring. So we're seeing a real collapse in the supply of eye care specialists. But guess what's happening on the other side, the demand side? It's just growing leaps and bounds as people age now, age longer, live longer, good for us. But it also means a real challenge to get to eye care specialists for your care. So we really, when we talked about the prison systems, the Indian reservations, you think about the Indian nations, right? And so what we've been approached to by a lot of clients is create a hub and spoke structure for us, where you're out in those rural areas, you're out in those urban areas where nobody wants to deliver services. And you can refer people to a hub, to a large campus. They know they have to drive. But how great would it be to be able to go down to your local Walgreens, your CVS, your Quest, your LabCorp? We're talking with LabCorp. We're in active negotiations with them. They see the same value that Quest did. And being able to get your eyes screened while you're picking up a loaf of bread, while you're coming home from work, filling up the car with gas, right? So that's really important to us for our go-to-market. When you visualize, how do you see this kiosk? We want to be clinically adjacent, right? So medically adjacent. We're not a photo booth standing in the middle of a mall somewhere. We're always located next to a pharmacy, to a clinic, somewhere along that way, because that's important to connect the patient to the weight of what it is they're receiving. So let's talk a little bit about pricing and how we do that. So this is a deal that we have struck exclusively with SPG. So thank you to Sam and Rick for pulling this all together and
Sure.
putting together this package with us. So the standard rate for a kiosk is $5,000 per kiosk per month. And that's before any discounts. So on an annual basis, it's about $60,000. But with volume and terms of the contract, we're able to offer up to 25% discounts, which puts you into about the $3,750 range per kiosk per month. And that's per site, our quote, and we don't quote below that floor. So that's sort of our basic cost to the client. We try to keep it very simple. Now, what's included in that? Everything. Everything. Maintenance, software updates. We provide all of that. Every kiosk, when it's placed, is monitored 24/7. We have a whole array of sensors inside the kiosk, so we know if it overheats, we know if too much dust collects, if there's too much UV light hitting the kiosk, and we're actually able to remediate that remotely. I think in all of our deployments, we've never had a field service have to go out and actually fix something on the kiosk. We've been able to remediate that remotely. So again, that promotes that idea of self-service, plug and play and walk away.
Yeah, the other thing too that I just want to say, because these are questions that came up to me, is that first of all, what I do want to say, if anybody knows of anybody that has the ability or wants the ability or wants to have the option of coming in on the investment side, we could schedule a call, and Chris, who didn't even have a chance to tell us about his background, but let me just say it's pretty strong when it comes to financial as far as knowing the healthcare world. But the point is that each person, if somebody wants to get involved in the distribution, will have their own contract agreement directly with EyeQuest. We're going to go through the compensation, which is going to be the overall compensation. And then what SPG will do is whatever compensation there is being offered through EyeCHEQ, we're going to go into a 50% collaboration with somebody who could bring a relationship to the table. We could also have the flexibility of being more generous and giving a higher payout depending on the amount of distribution there is and the potential behind the deal. The bottom line is that we're here today, and I thank EyeCHEQ and Rick, thank EyeCHEQ for giving us the opportunity of being a part of their distribution team and helping to situate with the affiliates that we have. So it's really an open canvas for us to work out and negotiate. So whatever comp is being discussed today is just the starting point, and then we could take it from there, Kim, and other people that are on the call. And the reason why I use your name, Kim, because I know that you're also involved with the investment side. So, but I just wanted everybody to know that ahead of time. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Sam. So thank you for taking the time to make it, which is this is our starting point. This is sort of our base case, depending on the strategic, depending on the opportunity, we have flexibility to work with folks on that. So appreciate that comment. So the commission structure, again, reflects the sort of the streamlined approach that we have. Year one, 8%, and then 2 and 3 at 7% after that. These are quarterly payouts. The commission is paid when EyeCHEQ is paid, and there's no clawback. So pretty standard, very straightforward commission structure. So again, how do we sell into the market? So we use what's called a land and expand, and it's really important to understand this dynamic. So we look at markets primarily what we call NFL cities. So we look at a geographical area and partners who need eye screenings done in that particular market, or a network partner who wants to place kiosks in a particular market. And so for us, that land is usually 5 kiosks or more with a 1-year contract. We don't do 1 in Jacksonville, 1 in Houston, 1 in New York, and 1 in LA. We have found that does not give the lift, that does not give the value, that does not give us the ability to extend into that client's network. So we would rather have that 4 in Jacksonville or 4 in Houston or 4 in Los Angeles, because it leverages a population. So we do a lot of analysis with our clients to determine where is the center of gravity. This is the same strategy that we used at Quest. It's the same strategy and we used it at Quest because we stole it from Starbucks, which is where is your customer? How far will they travel? How long will they travel? Not distance, but time. And so we know that based on that same structure, we know where to place the kiosks the same way that Starbucks knows where to put their coffee, the same way that Quest knows where to put their labs. So it's a proven model that we use to place the kiosk where the most center of gravity of potential populations are going to be. From there, then we expand. We start to build into that. Now, what's interesting is the network manager. So, for instance, a Quest, we'll use them as an example. They place a PSC in a network and they sell into Aetna. Aetna says, here's all the patients. We know they're coming there for their A1C already. We know that they know Quest because every job they go to, they got to get screened for their employment. So while they're there, Quest says, we've got an order on hold for Chris Grant. You're here for your A1C, but you're also, we have an order from your physician to get screened. On your way out, stop by the screening station, get your eyes screened. So it's a model that's really been very, very effective for Quest. And so what we do then is we look for other clients for them to sell into. So they're selling into Aetna, but now Humana wants to buy into that. Now Blue Cross Blue Shield wants to buy into it. So it's a real revenue generator and revenue accelerator for them because it's a flat fee, and every dollar after that ROI is pure top line revenue for them.
The other thing that
really benefits them to extend this out to the contracts that they have. Yes, Sam.
Yes, the other point, which is very important, what I'm finding, like, you have to remember something. Even though that I am an owner with Rick of Strategic Partner Group, we're also our own salesmen as well. So we go out and we're trying to open up, sales. But one big factor of how you could move a lot of kiosks is that there are other operations that are looking for strategic alliances with a company like EyeCHEQ, that at the same time they're going in and trying to market their product, they could also at the same time position EyeQuest with their same point of attack. We have one company that is already placed in hospitals selling preventive medicine take-home kits for people that get discharged from the hospitals, and they're looking now to be able to position other products with these clinics and hospitals. So they're jumping on a call with Rashid. I believe it's on Thursday, Rashid, correct? You have a call with Vic to talk about it, doing an alliance with them?
Yeah,
Thursday.
Right.
So there's multiple ways that we could make revenue by being the direct connector, or by finding the group that will partner with EyeCHEQ and be distributors at the same time, and then compensation will be figured out so everybody is taken care of. I just wanted to add that point in so that we keep it in the back of our minds.
Yeah, great point, Sam. And that just takes us to the last screen that we have here, which is what are the revenue streams that clients are interested in using the EyeCare station for. First one is the straight clinical application of this. So patient comes in, gets screened in the PCP office, hospital setting, and they're able to submit a 92228. The average on that, depending on geography, is between $40 and $60 per screening. There is also on top of that the quality aspect of this, which is the HEDIS stars, closing gaps in care. The DRE, the diabetic retinal exam, is one of the hardest to close. And CMS changed the rules this year, saying, in the past you could go retrospectively and hire a bunch of nurses and go chase this through to charts and say, oh, by the way, Chris happened to get his eyes checked. Let's call that a gap in care closure. CMS says you can't do that anymore. It's got to be real time. The patient's got to be there. EyeCHEQ is the only one that does that. We give real time information that closes that gap immediately in real time. That's a really important piece. You're going to see coming out of the press, and we've already seen it with Humana, for instance, they're just getting nailed this year because of that change, because they didn't set up the structure in advance to capture. Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, they have seen that, and so they're actually working with us because they see the benefit of that.
So basically, there's a benefit for the provider itself, right? For having his patients use the screener. There's a benefit for the owner of, or the person who places the machinery into their own facilities, whether it be optical stores themselves, whether it be gymnasiums or health spas, or any place where, or labs where people wait for to be called to the back room, that they look at it and say, what's that? Gee, I haven't checked my eyes in a long time. Or it could actually be placed in a ophthalmologist's office and use it as part of their 5-step or whatever 8-step before you actually sit down with the doctor, where they use those tests to determine what the problems are. So there's multiple different reasons why it makes sense. So I just wanted to touch upon that too, because I know we only have a limited time, and so I'm just trying to throw it in there.
Very soon, but could I just make a point over here? So if I'm a consumer and I put my head onto the screen and I look into the eye screens, how much does it cost me to do that?
Yeah, so for the patient, it should cost you nothing. That's the secret to this, is that the revenue is not generated by the customer transacting directly with EyeCHEQ. We don't have any financial transactional systems on the kiosk. We may in the future, but at present we don't, because either the person who placed the kiosk is generating revenue through their relationships, right? or the health plan who placed the kiosk is generating revenue from their reimbursement from CMS. So
Okay.
the incentive is to get the patient to the kiosk, um, to be um, to be able to close their gap in care primarily, but also to get that annual screening for the PCP office. The PCP, just one other point to tag on to what Sam was saying, they're getting the CPT costs, but they have incentives within their contracts. It's called a MIPS. And so how many patients you can get screened contributes to that incentive, that financial incentives. So we try to remove as many barriers for the patient as possible to incentivize them to come in, be curious about their eyes, and get screened. And we find that to be the model that works best for us today. There is a direct to consumer opportunity. I think that's probably version 2.0. We could go online, buy a screening, get a QR code, go to the kiosk, show the QR code, and get screened.
Okay, I just have one more. I'm a
Yeah.
diabetic,
Yep.
and I have been for the last 30 years. And I get my screening done probably once every quarter, free of charge, at the clinic, and they monitor my record, everything else completely self. If the NHS does that for me, what type of market would you have, or what is the business model for the UK?
Yeah, great question. We're actually working with Dr. Jatish Patel um, out of NHS, and their interest is, and this goes into something we talked about earlier, more around the oculomics, which is determining the propensity of disease based on the biomarkers in the eye, in the retina. And so he's come to us and said, we're looking at the Black country for the prevalence of cardiovascular disease in that particular population. So we're actually using a partner of ours, and they're sending us images, and then we're looking at how do we report back to them the risk of cardiovascular disease in that population. So that's the beginning of that relationship. The second phase of that then will be to place the kiosks in the UK and then further that into other areas, more international places, the Bangladesh, Africa, some of the Far East countries as well that they're interested in looking at and studying. So that would be the NHS does a great job of getting a diabetic retinal screen for eyes, but there's nobody doing the biomarkers, looking at the biomarkers for this whole array of diseases that we're going to be able to do very shortly here as the AI models are developed. Rashid, do you want to expand on that a little bit more? Or
Yeah, no, certainly, Sinesh. I'm glad that you're getting surveillance because the first organ to be affected by diabetes is the eye, and it's critically important for ocular screenings to be done to foreshadow any downstream complications, be it cardiac, renal, or peripheral neuropathy. Having said that, many of the referrals into ophthalmology are unnecessary. I don't know how or where you're getting your screenings done, but if you're being asked to go to an ophthalmologist office, there's obviously downtime, loss of productivity. They need to dilate your pupils to take an image. Our platform is distributed networks where people can check in their eyes without having necessarily to go into an eye doctor's office. Things can be done asynchronously. You can do it on your own time and your own schedule. So I think that has a upside definitely for even the diabetics within the NHS. But going to Chris's broader point here, now with the advent of large language models and robotics, now there's a convergence of technology that will allow us to take a picture back of one's eyes, a retinal image, and now we can detect biomarkers through those imaging modalities to pick up systemic risk factors that include risk for heart disease or kidney disease, neurodegenerative issues like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So essentially, we become a gateway for patients to engage in their healthcare non-invasively, take a picture of the back of the eye, and then we can then start triaging them to the proper care teams to address various risk profiles that were determined by our biomarkers through the large language models that are being developed either internally or with some of our partners externally. So that's what really excites us.
I understand that, Rashid. It's a one-stop shop stop. I go to my eye clinic. Yeah, absolutely. They dilute myself, etc. And I have to wait 10, 15 minutes before I put my head back onto the instrument, and they give me a diagnosis the very next day. Why would a eye clinic or the NHS, if you want to sell it, because I think the only way to sell this is not on a private sector scenario, putting into shopping malls or anything, because I don't think, because most of our health service is free, absolutely free, without insurance. We don't need insurance.
Right.
So for me to get either you put it in the surgeries or the doctor surgeries, but we have specialized units for places. It's not a one-stop shop. So if I go for my kidneys, I go to a special unit. If I go for my, I've had my toe amputated recently because of diabetes, I go to a different unit. And so I know exactly what you said, but I'm just trying to find a fit. Where do you market this as a one-stop shop? It can only be the private sector because of that.
Can I tell you where of them? One of them, which I'm learning too, is that the optical stores, Sinesh, the optical distribution outlets themselves, the eyeglass stores. People walk in, okay, and they have their eyes examined by an ophthalmologist. The ophthalmology themselves, the locations, could purchase a kiosk, put it into there to give them more reason to go to their eyeglass store. It would not just give the prescription, but it would also let the patient know whether they're on, like, there's diabetes there, there's cardiovascular disease there, whatever it may be. So where the money is made, I'm sorry, you go ahead. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I got it. I think it's more of a private sector. The NHS is too specialized. Like I said, I've got my experience. Now, I'm only putting my personal experience and maybe food for thought for you. But it could be a scenario of the Boots chemists. I don't know
That's
whether
exactly where I was going to go.
yeah,
That's the conversations we've been having as well, is with the NHS Boots EyeCHEQ triangulation. Because I think you've identified something really important here, Sanish, which is this needs to be placed in a public space,
absolutely. It's a private sector.
not as a specialist location. And you
Absolutely.
landed it right on the head. You expressed exactly the frustration so many people have, which is an overlying disease, diabetes, but I got to go to a specialist to take care of every little part of it that it impacts in my body. It would be great to get that in advance, that knowledge in advance, so you don't ever have to go to a specialist. The best way to do that, we feel, is to be in a very convenient, high traffic location or a high density of population. So you're doing that preventative care. You're actually doing preventative care, not just talking about it, to avoid the very thing that you, unfortunately, and thank you for sharing, have to go through in order to manage a singular disease is spread out, and you have to be your own traffic manager. You've got to be the one that has to coordinate all that care, and that's
Yeah.
got to be frustrating. It's
I,
got to
I,
be.
the only avenue on a commercial terms would be to tie up on the private sector with somebody like Boots, because
Yeah,
I could go there to get my hearing done. I can go there, but if it's a one-stop shop scenario, then you've got to look at on the retail outlets that can take the general public, regardless of whether they've got something that just to find out, and you
yeah,
have a diagnosis of everything else. So I
yeah,
wouldn't hit the NHS or anything because it's too specialized,
yeah,
and you can't penetrate that market on a one-stop shop scenario. However,
exactly.
the chemists of the UK, I'm just talking about the UK market because I know the UK market could be the avenue to go.
Yep. Perfect. Really
Yeah,
appreciate that.
the
Thanks
other
for that
thing
insight.
too, just a little bit about Sinesh and his partner Dennis. Dennis has 2.5 million followers, and he couldn't make this call. He's actually in Switzerland, correct, Sinesh?
He's on
So
his way back. He's on flight now.
okay. So on our next call or prior, we could have a direct call, and Sinesh and Dennis are involved in multiple different countries, South America, Portugal, the UAE, and multiple things. So I'm glad that Sinesh made this call because he could be an important pivot point for us to reach the other markets in other countries. But also with their AI technology that they themselves are working with 3D, there may be some synergy there with one of their platforms. So thank you,
That would be
Sinesh.
great if we could put our AI technology where my Dennis is the top 3 in the world today. If we could integrate our technology into your equipment, or I don't know how, I'm not a technologist.
We're going to
If
figure it out. Yeah, we will figure it out.
Yeah.
that could be
Hey,
done, that'd be fantastic.
yeah. Hey, listen, Sam and Rick, I want to be respectful of people's time. I think we're out of runway here, but I'm happy to stay on as long as people have questions and engage them, but I also want to be
I got to get
respectful. We're
off.
all very busy people. So
Yes, I
Okay,
got to get off.
Sinesh.
I've got to
thanks,
I'm
Sinesh.
take for another call. But
You bet.
I'd love to carry on this conversation, and lovely. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. Sam and Rick, if you could give me a call at some point today or tomorrow, whenever, it'd be great to catch up and talk about this.
No problem.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
We'll see
Yeah,
you.
Sam, I'm going to jump off too, but a lot of great information today, and I will get back to you, David and I, and we'll look at our contacts and how we can plug things in. Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
Kim. Kim, thank you for coming on the call, Kim. It was very
Thank
nice
you.
of you. It was very good.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for your time. Ali, Chris,
Thank you.
Chris, you want to go
Rashid.
ahead and wrap up the slides that you wanted to cover since I'm recording it, and I can.
That was it. That was all of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Perfect.
thank you very much, Guy. I hope everybody, like I said, it's something in progress, and the next call we'll have some more additional people that haven't heard about it, and people that want to be involved will be. We have some personal one-on-one meetings set with Rashid, and I have somebody else that I had mentioned that is very connected in Arizona with some major distribution channels, and then we'll just keep it going. Ali, are you still on the call? Anything that we missed,
Yeah, I'm here.
or were you
Yeah,
okay with the knowledge that was transferred today?
I am. Yes. Good call.
Excellent
Okay.
information.
Rashid, I guess we have a standard call going every Monday at 2 p.m. So what I'll do, unless we change
Let
the
me.
time,
We've
there'll be
got
more
Kim
people
on.
coming.
Kim, did you have any closing comments or thoughts?
No, I didn't. I hear you guys talking about making associating with the big players. So I'm wondering if there really is room for someone that just wants 1 or 2 or 10 units. If you're talking to major medical systems and doing, collaboration with major providers like CVS. So it's just kind of like, okay, well, um, from that aspect, um, I don't want, I hear you guys, but just be cognizant if you are talking to someone like me who has capacity, but they don't have a CVS and a Humana connection capacity, then you may, folks like me may not be like, okay, well, sounds like you guys got it covered. Why are
No,
you
but
somebody
that's
like
why
me?
I said, Kim, that's why I was saying why I did and why we said it, that if somebody has a location, right, or a smaller store, an optometrist store that have 5 locations, that's fine too to do. I'm actually not just going after the larger people. I'm going after when I mean going after, I'm trying to help people that have the maybe 10 locations throughout the country, or that know the smaller distribution outlets. And by the way, just because somebody has a contract with a Costco or a CVS, they had started off saying that there's only a certain amount of those contracts are being put in place. But this was not meant to say that we're only looking to work for the big boys. Now, please, Rashid or Ali, if you could please jump in and just give your response to Kim. It's better her hearing it than I'm hearing it from you, the onus than coming from me. And if you could just clarify what I'm saying, please.
Yeah, I'll jump in first. You're absolutely right, Sam. This is not a conversation for whale hunters. So forgive us if that felt like the tone that we're only looking for people who can, hunt whales. Having a kiosk network of 10, 15 kiosks, that's as valuable as a whale because what happens is we're able to demonstrate and sell into that network. So a network of 10 could have as big a revenue as in any of the other clients based on how we're able to sell into that. And that's what we're here to do is to help you target opportunities and clients to sell into that kiosk, to sell into that network. So there's a whole spectrum of different strategies we use. You hear the talk of the CVSs. That's one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum are those family practices, those regional opportunities with the plans. Particularly the plans are all state based. So you talk about Blue Cross Blue Shield, you're talking about one of 50, right? Because there's
Yeah,
one for every
you're
state.
talking community centers, you're talking
Yeah,
unique
exactly.
markets. There are so many opportunities. I mean, especially when you're
Yeah.
looking at specific markets that you have access to. So, Kim, yeah, there's community centers. There are some really unique markets that don't get any traction at all.
Yeah.
That are tremendous opportunities. Tremendous
Yeah, and by the
opportunities.
way, I come from, I mean, my background originally going back 45 years already has been banking and healthcare and connections of financing and both through the banking system. But the reason why that a lot of times that people use the names like Humana or United Healthcare or CVS because there's so many different smaller healthcare groups that are out there that are now falling under the umbrella of these large companies. So when we say that again, and Kim, you were the one that made the point, which is very good, Chris. I think for the next presentation, Kim, which I hope that you come back or that you have a direct conversation. I know that you and Rashid spoke last week for briefly, but your feedback is very, very important. And your comment is right. And one of the things that we should do, and I'm treating you like family now, Kim, is Chris, we should put a slide together that talks about the different range of the target market that we could work with, whether you're an operation of 10 locations or whether you're a network of 2,000 locations, that EyeCHEQ can be of value. And then
That's a great
so
idea.
add a slide
You've
in
got
like that.
ministries. Yeah, you've got so many
Yeah.
opportunities out there.
Yeah. But it's a
Yeah.
great point, Kim. Thank you for expressing that
Excellent
because
point, Kim.
that's a nice way for us to continue to find opportunities and to express what those opportunities are to folks like yourself. So I really
And by
appreciate
the
that
way,
comment.
Kim, as well, last week we had somebody named Kavan who was looking to bring EyeCHEQ to the Caribbean marketplace. And one thing that wasn't spoken about, and I have to apologize because I spoke more than I was planning on, but I was just trying to just cover some loose ends, is that there's the US marketplace, and then there's the outside of US, and there's the leasing in the US that's offered, but there's the purchase capability outside of the US. So there's a lot of points that someone like you, who is an entrepreneur, as well as an expert in the field, I think you'd have a very valuable conversation just having more of a smaller group, maybe you and Dino and Chris and Ali and Rashid talking about how something could be put together between all of you.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm from the Virgin Islands, and I know that in particular in the U.S. Virgin Islands, there's a lot of challenges right now with healthcare delivery, and it's not uncommon for folks in the Virgin Islands to they just don't have a situation where there's always an ophthalmologist on the island. The ophthalmologist may come in for a week and then they go for 3 weeks and then so it's very spotty. So a lot of providers, in particular the specialties, are not always there all the time. But it's needed. I think the
Yeah.
Virgin Islands we have a population of 50,000 on St. Thomas, 50,000 on St. Croix, and then maybe about another 3 to 5,000 on St. John. So yes, there is opportunity in the Caribbean,
And,
definitely,
and
because
Kim,
that's. Mhm.
just imagine if that optometry group, that specialty group, was the ones who placed the kiosk that
Oh,
says
sure.
screen our patients before we show up.
That's awesome.
Right? You now create a pipeline. You now create a relationship between the patient and the doctor before the patient even knows it. And it's a great opportunity to say to the specialist, listen, you can be on the island 24/7 now and not have to be there in person. Think about that. So
To
when you
find the
make your
real
trip,
patients who
you
need the
know
care.
exactly, you're waiting for Chris Grant to show up because Chris Grant got screened, and you know exactly what's going on with Chris Grant. I mean, think of the power of that for someone
That's
who has
awesome.
limited
Well,
mobility because of the geography. And now you've created a solution that nobody else can. And you go back to that 2x2 matrix. That's really important to know. It's automated, but it's medical. And that's the differentiator. That's where nobody has been able to compete with us. So it's something to think about. I'd love to have a conversation with you offline
and
about this if you
the
want to
other
go a little
thing
bit
too,
deeper.
Kim, like we spoke about, is you
That's
being
good,
an
Chris.
investor, you being an investor, and you know, as well as a doctor or radiologist who knows the marketplace. We're ground floor right now. That's why Rick and I are so excited. And I've got to tell you something. I have a business that works with 50, 60 different verticals, from energy to agriculture to biotech, fintech, medtech. And everybody that I'm speaking to, once I start talking about EyeCHEQ, starts saying, you know what, that may be a good little vertical to, or a little like down like side path to get involved with, because we know that people. One of the persons that was on the call, TJ, is that was Tim Johnson, who lives originally from Montana, and he's out there where all the cows, and he jokes about it too. The cows, the farmers, and from him, I have entree into the Indian tribe community. He was on the call today because he's thinking about getting EyeCHEQ and having them placed in those areas where people don't have access to the doctors,
Exactly.
and haven't been
Exactly.
screened for a long time so that they could get reimbursed. But so when you do have your call, Kim, with this fantastic group, and
I think that's an
and
awesome idea.
I think it's also a chance to talk about the investment uh, side, besides the humanity side of helping people, you know. But it's
Before we
open
jump
door right
off,
now.
Yeah.
before we
Okay,
jump off,
awesome.
before we jump off, I had read something about fundraising and that aspect. Can you talk a little bit about the fundraising aspect? Or did I read something wrong there? Was there a fundraising aspect to this? No? Okay.
Yeah,
I thought
no,
I read
I
somewhere in
think
some of the
every
literature about fundraising with this concept.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that there is multiple paths. I think the person who is actually out there, Rick, that knows the outlets. There's multiple different ways of working with nonprofits. And by the way, Rashid is meeting. She couldn't attend this call, Kim, but there's a woman named Mary who is a special when it comes to autism,
Oh yeah, they had a
as
great conversation.
well as other. Uh, I'm sorry to use the word mental, brain connected. Um, I'm trying to think of the word. Reasons
Neurodiverse.
why it all ties in. I'm sorry, neural diversity, whatever it may be. So, but Kim, I just want to thank you very much because you've added a lot of backup to the points that we're talking about. But on the investment side, I think there's a lot ahead of you.
By the
Okay,
way,
great.
Kim, before you jump off, what do you mean by an investor? Are you looking at projects like this or smaller or?
Well, I've invested in startups before. So I understand the pains that you have to go through in order to get, something to market. And so yes, on either side, either the company side or the actual product side, probably more the product side, I could probably pull a group of people together. I'm thinking of the people that I would like to at least hear the opportunity. Um,
Absolutely.
that
Yeah,
may be interested in coming together and forming a group and, not, putting in 10 to 20 maybe, strategically.
Yeah,
Um,
you
I,
could put it
I,
in
I
pockets of.
really like the idea Chris had for the Virgin Islands and a group coming together with those optometrists that are out there
Yes.
and being able to put that in place for the folks in the Virgin Islands so that before, they can find out who really needs that care. The optometrist, what do you call
Optometrists,
them?
ophthalmologists. Yeah,
Optometrists,
I think
ophthalmologists.
there is
Yeah,
definite
And,
opportunity
and by the
there.
way, Kim, I know that Rashid and Ali and Chris are thinking this, but you know what? We will gladly work with. They would. I'm going to speak on their behalf. They would gladly work with 5 people that could put in 2 million each, and then all of a sudden you have a group of 10. That's $10 million coming in, helping with financing. That ends up to be great as well. It may be even
that would
simpler
be
to do it that
huge.
way,
That would be
right,
huge.
Rashid? Am I right about what I'm saying? Or
Yeah, no, absolutely. Certainly, there's opportunity for people to have a vested interest equity stake because we're raising 5 million on this 10 million round. We've already secured 4 million from a strategic investor who's a publicly traded company in EyeCHEQ, and we're excited to raise another 5 million so that this will take us to profitability and beyond.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Kim,
Well,
we'll share a deck
I have
with you.
folks on either end.
Okay, great.
Fantastic.
all righty, very good, guys. So listen, thank you very much, Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
Rashid, you have Kim's number from Dino, and if not, then we'll get it again, or I have it. And this was a very valuable call. Ali, thank you very much. Chris, fantastic job, and Kim,
My
whether
pleasure.
you like it or not, but you're part of our family now. So, all right.
Thank you guys. Thank
Now,
you.
we're looking at next Monday, two
We're
o'clock.
going to confirm it. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to see what everybody can make this time, but I'm sure Rashid and Ali, you're flexible that if another day works better, then we'll just do it that way. But tentatively, we have Mondays,
Okay.
right?
All right. Sounds
Have a
great.
good day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
All right, guys. Take care.